Hi guys, welcome back to public note segment on design and effects. Today we are going to learn about the panels in Adobe After Effects. There are three main panels that are very commonly used in Adobe After Effects, and they are this composition panel here, this project panel, another one here, and the timeline panel. These three are the most important or are the most frequently used panels in, and it's, I think, the most used panels when you are working on a project. Yeah, the other ones will be a plus to it, but the most, or I mean from the experts, these are the most three commonly used panels in Adobe After Effects, or mostly in any other video editing software. The project panel, when you come to the project panel, I want us to delve into these panels before we move on to the composition. The project panel here is, it is where everything in your workspace is organized. This panel organizes everything, even the material that we use here will be organized and grouped here, where everything is structured and organized, where you import your footage, your graphics, your audio, your solids. With the composition panel, is basically where your work is viewed, or we say the viewer panel. So as your project panel is organizing your files and your graphics, audio and solids here, the composition panel is doing the viewing to the end user, or to the user. It will give us the view of whatever is organized here. When we come to the timeline panel, this timeline panel gives us the sequence and the layers of whatever is organized here. So the timeline is where we call the sequence panel. Okay, this timeline panel is where we call the sequence panel. Is where the footage, the images, the text are being displayed in the layers. So for instance, let me try to give you a simple scenario. Let's try to, you right click on, then try to import an image for an example sake. Let's give a small scenario here. Let's import. So let's come to the project panel here. Let's right click on the project panel. We can create a new composition here, but for an example sake, let's do a small example for you to understand. Let's import a file or an image. Let's bring in this lion here, import it. Yeah, so look at something. As the project panel is organizing everything in a structured format here, when I drag the image on the timeline here, the composition panel is giving us the view of the image. It is not, it's not giving us the correct height and width, because we didn't pre-set the height and width in the composition. That's why it's giving us this height. And okay, so if it were to be how do you call it, a footage, you will see that as from where the start of the footage to where we end will give us the sequence of the footage. So as the timeline is giving us the sequence of the layers of the footage, the composition panel is giving us the display of whatever is happening here, and basically the project panel is organizing the files and those that will be displayed here in an organized structure. Okay, I hope you understand. So as the project panel is giving out the structure, the composition panel is giving out the display or the view. That's why we normally call it the viewers panel. Right. Then the timeline panel is giving out the sequence. So where are we from? If this were to be a footage, we will see that the timestamp is to give us the timestamp. So from the second or the first second to wherever we are going, or to the fifth or the third second, will give us the sequence of whatever will happen between this time frame. Okay, so this is basically a small example of the panels in Adobe After Effects.